Today's video is the last in our three-part series looking at the border defense plans of the three Baltic nations. We started with Lithuania, moved on to Latvia, and we are finishing off with Estonia. While Lithuania and Latvia had fairly similar strategies with just a few differences, Estonia's plan has a much larger focus on bunkers. But let's take a look at this plan in more detail. And so on September 16th, Estonia's Centre for Defence Investments, known as the RKIK in Estonian, put out this graphic. We're not sure if the creation of this graphic was inspired by Lithuania and Latvia doing it first, but we're certainly glad to have this image to use as the foundation of the video. And so, starting at the border with Russia, we can see that an access/maintenance road will run along the border fence. This will be followed by an anti-tank ditch, which is what we've seen with both Latvia and Lithuania. Behind the ditch will be rows of dragon's teeth and razor wire. Unfortunately, unlike the graphics from the fellow Baltic nations, Estonia's diagram does not include distances. Nonetheless, we can see that a minefield will go behind the dragon's teeth and razor wire. As Latvia had specified with its plan, the mines will only be laid when a military threat is perceived and a timely response required. And then behind the minefields will be bunkers, which is something that Estonia has heavily focused on. As you can see from the diagram, it says that as many bunkers as possible will be built during peacetime, and trenches and minefields will be built when the situation requires. We'll explain more about Estonia's bunker focus, but let's first get through the rest of this graphic. So, behind the bunkers and wartime trenches, you can see support point/storage areas, locations to house equipment that cannot deploy in peacetime. Larger storage areas with similar structures and material will be placed further back. These are more or less equivalent to the quote-unquote engineering parks detailed by the Lithuanian and Latvian plans. So, what else can be said? Well, we know that in June 2025, ERR had reported that work had begun on anti-tank ditches in southeastern Estonia, which will form part of the Baltic defence line. The article detailed that the project is set to cost €4.4 million this year, and it is expected that up to 28 bunkers and 10 storage areas will be established by the end of this year. The project manager of the Baltic Defence Zone was quoted as saying, "Currently, up to 4 kilometers of anti-tank ditch are under construction. The locations of up to 28 bunkers are being confirmed, and we plan to finalize them by this fall, along with up to 10 storage areas." Look at a map of Estonia and the region, and you know that only part of Estonia's borders will be able to use this plan. That's because much of Estonia's eastern border follows bodies of water. But at least in the far southeast, the frontier runs through heavily forested land, and it is in this zone that the anti-tank ditches are dug. A report by the Odessa Journal quotes the commander of the engineering unit of the Estonian Defence Forces Division as saying, "An anti-tank ditch halts the enemy and slows down their advance. When they try to create a passage through it, they become an easy target for our weapons." The article also noted that these trenches are 4 meters wide and 2 meters deep. The Odessa Journal piece adds that it was previously reported that the entire fortification line along the Russian border will include 600 reinforced positions. Additionally, an Estonian military representative noted that in building firing positions and bunkers, which must withstand the impact of 152mm shells, Estonia is incorporating lessons from the war in Ukraine, including the use of special netting and other protection against drones. By the way, apologies that we aren't able to provide too many images of this work. Either we're not looking in the right place, or the Estonians haven't published as many photos and video as the other Baltic countries. But when it comes to border reinforcements at the Narva crossing, we have our own visuals, as we visited this area over the summer. According to United 24 Media, Estonia is reinforcing security infrastructure at this particular border crossing with Russia. The Estonian Police and Border Guard Board announced that construction is currently underway at the checkpoint to ensure control measures. In recent times, authorities installed heavy metal gates on the Estonian side of the bridge linking Estonia and Russia. Work is also in progress to deploy retractable metal barriers, which can fully block vehicle movement both into and out of the checkpoint when necessary. As far as we know, the border crossing remains open to pedestrians but is closed off to vehicles. During our visit, we saw many people standing in the hot sun waiting to get through Estonian border control. We have to wonder if it's the same uncomfortable procedure on the Russian side as well. While it's not exactly about border defences, we should note that there is currently bus service that connects Tallinn, Estonia, to St. Petersburg, Russia. Lux Express operates daily departures from Tallinn via the Narva border crossing. But once at Narva, passengers must cross the border on foot, walk across the bridge, and then get on a bus from the Russian company Eurolines on the other side. We imagine the bus schedules are coordinated to allow travelers to get from one bus to the other. But getting back to our main topic of Estonia's border defense plan, we know that nature will be another method of slowing down any potential invasion. According to ERR, Ukraine has been able to successfully defend itself against Russian attacks in some areas by deploying its natural resources, such as rivers, floodplains, and marshy terrain. And so, when asked if the Estonian government was looking at peatland restoration as a security measure, the spokesperson for the Ministry of Climate told Politico Europe, "I can confirm that we have started early discussions with the Ministry of Defense and would like to include them in a nature restoration project." However, when this news came out in late August, it was noted that discussions are, quote, "still at a very early stage." ERR notes that approximately 22% of Estonia's land area is covered by peatlands, which puts the country second in the world after Finland at 31%. Bogs and marshy areas drastically slow down any advance, as only equipment below a certain weight would be able to get through such terrain. A great comparison is this footage from the brand new light and amphibious Track X by Patria versus the unfortunate story of a 50 to 60-ton American M88 Hercules recovery vehicle ending up submerged in a Lithuanian swamp during an exercise. Critics, YouTube critics, and possibly Russian bots will jump at the chance to say that this won't be enough to stop an invasion. However, it's clear to most people that its purpose is to merely delay an enemy advance and to buy time so that Estonian and allied forces can respond. It should also be obvious that this plan is about infrastructure only and does not provide detail about how forces would respond and what kind of air defense and anti-drone measures are or would be in place. But what do you think of Estonia's plan and its heavier focus on bunkers? Let us know by leaving a comment.